All right, fans of Frisbee, friends here at the field and those at home watching the live stream, welcome to the final stream game of the first day of the New Zealand Tertiary Ultimate Championships 2022 here in beautiful Kirikiriroa, Hamilton. As always, my name is Blair Monroe.
And I'm Kisa Valenti.
And we are your eyes and ears on the ground to provide context and commentary for the final clash of the first day of the tournament between the Massey Chargers and the host team with the home team advantage, the University of Waikato. Now we will see whether or not that home team advantage is enough to score them the win. They had a bit of a rough start early on, but they did come off, they're coming into this game off a win. The Massey Chargers, on the other hand, a tough defeat against the dominant OUUC Toroa. Now, Kisa, we've seen both of these teams play today, so considering what we know about the different styles and about some of the sort of offense that we've seen from some and the defense that we've seen, what do you think is going to be the Massey Chargers' biggest struggle in this match?
You know, I'm not sure about struggle, but I'm really looking forward to seeing these two team personalities come up against each other. We've seen a few different styles of play on this field throughout the day. I think out of all of them, these two groups are going to be the most similar. I think both are going to have struggles, it being game 4. So this is the 4th 90-minute game they've played in a single day. It's a very athletic sport. They don't have huge rosters. So I think physical fatigue is going to play a big role as well as mental fatigue. So that's something both teams are up against today.
Yep, absolutely. I think, mainly, as you say, it's perhaps not necessarily one side struggling against one another. I think that based on what we've seen from Waikato already, they've put a lot of pressure in terms of their defense. They've got a really good defensive structure that they've been running out, but the question is whether or not they're adaptable to changing offense. And we've seen, conversely, that Massey have done a really, really good job of adapting to the defense that's been put on them throughout the tournament so far. So we're going to see Massey Chargers in the blue uniforms on the right-hand side of your screen now. You can see them on your screen. Bianca Mercer with the disc, so they will look to initiate the first point of the game with the pull. The University of Waikato team to come out on offense. Conditions have settled down quite a lot. We've had a lot of changeable wind. We started off in the morning with a nice upwind, downwind that pivoted into a crosswind from our previous game, but it's quite settled now. Alex Dio to pick up the disc as all of the Waikato players run away. So not a huge amount of support. Kent Wilcock for an undercut to support. There's a toe on it from Ronnie Reddings, and it's picked up by Brandon Jones. A great early turn. Tyson Pellman with a big rip. Ronnie Redding looking to chase. It's fading towards the left. He gets underneath it. And a great early score. We'd call that a bookend. His toe on that forehand from Kent Wilcock on the near sideline being just enough to add that wobble and allowing his teammate Brandon Jones to close out the block and generate a turn there for the Massey Chargers. So they will be very, very excited about that opening to the game.
Very strong, tidy start from the Chargers. I'm loving the energy they've brought so far.
And there it is, Ronnie Reddings on screen now with a great early score for the Massey Chargers. Waikato to come out on offense a second time. We'll see whether or not they have any learnings to take away from that first point. A lot of the downfield players moved downfield early, and there wasn't a huge amount of support available for Alex Dio in the handler space. Josh Cook with the pull for Massey. It's fading right. It's going to touch down out of bounds.
We can see the brick signal coming from the Waikato handler. They're going to take the disc about 18 meters forward of the end zone, and that's to take away any advantage the defense may have gotten from such a strong pull so far out of bounds. We can see that he's testing the winds, looking at how the grass behaves so he can adapt to the changing conditions here on the field.
Timothy Horton on the mark. Alex Dio with the disc.
Getting to a high stall count here. Good patience, though, for a handler swing.
Walmsley finds Caitlin Ward. Niwa not able to secure it, so another opportunity now. Pellman pulls it down despite great pressure from Walmsley. It sounded a bit contacty, but there was no call made. It was a clean hold. Joshua Cook looking to finish things off. Puts a nice little outside in forehand to Pellman. Abigail Dorr right with the score as Massey Chargers go up by 2 over the home team, the University of Waikato. We'll get to see that again. The Dave Sanders circle cut, taking his defender all the way around the handler.
Trash.
Two up over Waikato now. The Massey Chargers looking to assert their dominance early.
We'll see if they can charge ahead.
And now the gender matchup. It's a male matchup majority on the field at the moment, so we're going to see number 55 for the Massey Chargers, Ronnie Reddings with disc to pull. The wind's starting to pick up a little bit, but inconsistently. It'll be interesting to see what kind of an impact that has on the player. Consistent wind is something that a more skilled player can work with, or at least adapt to. Inconsistent wind, the timing of it can completely throw off an otherwise executed throw. Nice roller pull. Kieran McDonald early. Gives back to Alex Dio. Martingy Hogan. Near sideline marked by Bianca Mercer.
Love that matchup.
To Kieran McDonald again. Puts a big forehand looking for Alex Dio.
Can he get there? Oh, great bid, but could not come down with it.
Just a little bit overthrown. He's not able to secure that one and put a necessary point on the board for Waikato. Josh Cook with the disc, with a big rip. It's a little bit thrown off, but there's an incident on the field, possibly an injury.
There's 2 calls on the play right now. We've got a foul and an injury in the upfield. And a violation here on the sideline.
So while we resolve this, we'll be back with you very, very shortly.
We are a group of ultimate players, coaches and video enthusiasts. We've worked with the major federations and the greatest events.
We're on a mission to make Ultimate huge. We want our videos and live streams to be free to watch.
We want to make stories that not only reach you,
but also reach people outside the Ultimate community.
Like and subscribe, Ultimate TV, the best in the world.
Become a member
and fund our work to cover more events in the future and to bring more stories and live coverage to the eyes of the Ultimate world and beyond.
So again, as we resolve that injury call, Aaron Radka was just being a little bit, it's unclear as to what happened. It looked like he's trying to cut around his defender and tripped over his feet. It's an unfortunate incident. But if you like everything else that we've been showing you today, head along to patreon.com/ultitv. Throw us your spare change so that we can continue putting on some amazing coverage of one of the best sports in the world. So just in terms of the resolution of this, there are no referees in Ultimate. It's a self-officiated sport. Players take it upon themselves to learn the rules, to make calls, and to resolve them as cleanly as possible between themselves on the field. So it's a fantastic sport to get your kids involved in, as it is a non-contact sport, but also helps to develop those much-needed communication skills. So as the player is escorted off the field, We will make a substitution. So play will return to the last uncontested possession, which will be Joshua Cook with the disc on his defensive end zone, the front of his defensive end zone, marked by Alexander Dio. Massey Chargers coming out with a horizontal stack, so trying to maximize space towards the disc and towards the deep end zone. Bianca Mercer holstering two long options. Ronnie Reddings lets one rip anyway.
Looking for Lang in the end zone, but the disc curves back to the right and is steed by Waikato.
Great block there by Grace Jourdain, seeing where the disc was going to end up. Slight correction to her line, able to close that out, generated an opportunity now. Kieran McDonald to Alex Dio on the far sideline. Kieran McDonald, former sprinter, a lot of separation. It's just a little bit overthrown. Maybe if the field were 800 meters long, he might have paced himself a little bit better for that one. So we're back to where we were. Josh Cook on the front of his end zone. We're seeing these players take some big options. And it's just that they're not quite paying off. Katie Son with a nice interception there, managing to shut down Roddy Redding's in-cut. This is the opportunity that the Waikato need. Grace Jourdain with the great score right in the front corner of the end zone, managing to slip past the defensive pressure of Bianca Mercer as they go 2-1. Only 1 point behind the Massey Chargers after an impressive start to this, the final game of the first day of the New Zealand Tertiary Ultimate Championships 2022. Waikato now with an opportunity to come down on defense. Are we going to see that same 2-3-2, that hexagonal zone that we've seen from them a lot in previous games throughout the tournament so far and on our live stream just recently? And if so, what are we going to see from the Massey Chargers? They seek to break through that zone. Isaiah Kapoor with the disc for Waikato. Seeing if anybody else wants to pull instead, as it is a female matchup majority point. He's passed the disc on to Grace Jourdain, number 11 for the Waikato side. And there's the signal. Great low pull. Not too far past halfway, but a great opportunity for the Waikato defense to get set. It looks like they're going to be sticking to a match defense. Tyson Pellman sends a long one to Ling for the great score. Excellent work by the Massey Chargers to hold on to their 2-point lead. 3-1 over Waikato as we go partway through the 15th minute of this 75-minute match, game to 13. We're going to get the opportunity to see that again. Pellman picks up the disc, marked by Walmsley, and just lets off a rip of a forehand. That's easily run down.
2 quick points in the span of about 2 minutes. Wonder if we'll get to cap on this one. Seems the offense is doing really well on both sides. We're only 16 minutes into the game, and we've got a score of 4 total points already.
And now the pressure's back on the Waikato side as they have no doubt in their mind now, having seen Massey convert long points off very quick turns, which means that the margin for error for the Waikato side is a lot narrower as we continue this game. Not only are they 2 points down, but they also have seen now that the Massey side have a lot of firepower. Maybe we didn't see as much of it as we would have liked in the previous game, but it's definitely there, and they're able to bring it out on a moment's notice. Isaiah Kapoor with the disc on the near sideline. Finds Kent Wilcock, and again lets it uncork. Cowley trying to get underneath it. Great work. Bit of a confusing read there. The disc fading towards the left. The player zigzagging, just trying to make sure the defense didn't know where she was going. Manages to come down with it. Aria Cowley for the score as Waikato go up by add 1 to their score to keep that 1 point gap. See that again.
I think part of it's nice when it's New Year's season. As soon as it's holiday, it is a ghost town, dead, nothing to do there. And if it's not summer, or
Just absolutely uncorks the forehand.
Excellent read by Aria Cowley, number 14 in the end zone there. That's not a tricky pass to receive, especially when it goes over your head like that. Your momentum's going in another direction. You have to be really heads up, really agile to get yourself under that disc.
Well, that's exactly what Waikato were looking for. Now as we move towards a male majority matchup, so 4 males on the line, 3 males on the line. Reminder for those at home, under current, I believe it is current World Flying Disc Federation rules, there's an ABBA structure to the gender makeup of each line on a field of ultimate. So the ratio being 4 to 3, and it swaps gender every 2 points. So Alex Dio with the pull, the win, carrying that a little bit further. Josh Cook early working with Thad Finch.
Looks like we're seeing a side stack offensive look from Massey here. The receivers split on either side of the field. Cleared up lots of space for the long look.
Great work by the Waikato defense. It looked to be just inside Ronnie's reach. But Kent Wilcock manages to close and then get a foot to it to stop any last-minute chance of grabbing and keeping that disc in hand.
It's a football style, yet a legal D.
So Waikato now on the offense. The
Really
pressure's
high stall count there, and it looks like we're just trying to get yards, but Kirikiriroa Hamilton Waikato University manages to come down with it. We were right on the doorstep of the end zone. Seeing some real good patience with the disc here.
One of the benefits of throwing in the wind in a situation like that is it can often slow the disc down just enough to give you the time to get into position to keep a hand on it. So from the commentary booth, it looked like that was just a territorial option. It's number 3 for the University of Waikato, Walter Walmsley, managing to pick up that score. Almost a surprise to us here that that was able to be kept in possession by the Waikato side. The wind's starting to pick up a little bit more now.
Huge effort there from number 55, Ronnie Reddings, that big layout D. Just was not quite enough to get there.
So Waikato now looks like the game being 3-all after a quick turn and a quick close to put a break on the board for the Waikato side. So we really see some offensive powerhouses on the side for the Massey offense. Brandon Jones, Tyson Pellman, Bianca Mercer. Really, really confident players with the disc. Players who know how to move the defense, who know how to work the disc up and down the field. Izzy Kapoor with the disc for the Waikato side. You'll see the little skip step that he does as a part of his pull warm-up. Lets it rip. Great work. Takes a half second for Massey to respond, picking up the disc. Alex Dio there, able to stop the second pass as Bianca Mercer centers the disc to Tyson Pellman.
Mercer punching through the center to Ling.
Despite a great bid from Hogan to try and generate a turn. Mercer to Jones, to Cook. Back to Mercer, making their way up the field. They're in their own offensive half now. Nice threaded pass through. Comfortable gainer. Ling now finds Pellman. Pellman trying to direct traffic, get a few more cuts towards the disc. Great touch by Walmsley. Cook with an impressive second attempt. Martin Hogan approaching the disc, marked by Ling. Finds Alex Dio, who lets it rip, looking for Kieran McDonald in the end zone. Comfortable, there it is. Number 4 for the Waikato side goes up, comes down with the disc, and puts a point on the board, taking Waikato to their first lead of the game. We'll see that again. Great cut by Alex Dio. Hardly marked, lets the rip off. Despite the attempted double coverage by Brandon Jones and Tyson Pellman, two impressive players in their own right. Not enough to stop the fleet foot of Kieran McDonald. Some great work by the Waikato offense now. As they set up a defensive line, will we see that same zone that we've seen from them? It's almost a Hamilton staple at this point, isn't it, that 2-3-2? Almost every team that comes out of Hamilton seems to run that, at least a couple of points per game.
They are definitely known for it. So when we say hex, the players on the field are in a hexagon shape, which, I don't know if you know this, Blair, hex means 6. And you might be seeing 7 people on the line. We have a center called a hat. That person basically runs the play. So moving from the center out to the sides, the hex rotates in a series of triangles, which is quite different to what you'll see from a vertical or a horizontal stack, where we're either clearing the left and right lanes or the under and away lanes. They are playing a bit more of a squirrely responsive game, which suits the Hamilton style well.
Oh, that great pull from Hogan, just landing in bounds.
Tight defense.
Holman with the disc, sends a big shot up, looking for Exconde. But Kieran McDonald is able to generate that turn there. Grace Jourdain, nice undercut to receive the disc center field. Looks back to find Kieran McDonald. Maringi Hogan, Kieran McDonald in motion. The defense sags off and is enough to shut that one down. Zachary Boda. Evelyn Barber. Back to Kieran McDonald, to Maringi Hogan.
Great patience on the disc from Hogan.
TX Conde on the disc, putting a lot of pressure on. Great movement, shutting that down, finding a high stall count. And Jonas Holman able to get a run-through block. Mercer puts a big one up. Holman going for it. Tries to jump the disc inbounds, not quite enough to take it. Finds Cleo Exconde on the far sideline to close that one out for the Massey Chargers, bringing us back on serve as we go 4-4 26 minutes into the game. The whole thing still wide open. Great attempt at jumping that disc in. But as all the defense closed in on Jonas Holman just outside of the end zone, it left players wide open. And with his skill with the disc, it's an easy target for the zip man to hit. Chargers now to come down on defense. The wind starting to gust. Inconsistent in direction, but there's a lot more force to it. We'll see whether or not it comes into play on this next point. Coach Tucky Cookson giving some last words of advice to his offensive line before play resumes. Likewise, Joel Gordon, a former Massey player himself, now taking more of a coaching role as he's aged his way out of tertiary study. Doing some amazing work with Sport Manawatu from what I hear. Bianca Mercer with the disc.
Huge pull from Mercer. That's got some hang time to it.
Plenty of time for the Chargers defense to get into position. Kobe Niwa on the far sideline, marked by Cook. Finds Dio in center field. It's a big shot rip. Kent Wilcock, marked down by Tyson Pellman. It's enough.
No call on the field. Bit of contact there, but did not affect the play. The players have decided.
The pressure from Pellman, just enough to stop Kent Wilcock coming down with that one for the score. The range on that throw is amazing. Quick work past. Finds Ronnie Reddings. He's doing some great work in the midfield for the Massey side. Lets a big, long shot rip. A little bit on the flat side. Not enough hang time for Reddings to get underneath it. And a little bit long for him to try and lay out. Wilcock again sending a big shot up. Just outside the hands of Grace Jourdain.
Lots of ambitious throws here back and forth. Even though you can't see the wind on screen, you can tell by the length of these passes that the wind has died down and teams are trying to take advantage of it.
Grace, come to the middle. Come to the middle. That big breakthrough happen. Go to the middle.
Ronnie Reddings again looking for a deep cut. The throw's a little bit higher this time. Dio gets a hand to it. Reddings isn't able to recover in time. Early set to Kent Wilcock to find Kobe Niwa. Works upfield to Katie Son. Low throw, Jourdain unable to pick that one up, keeping it off the turf. Tyson Pellman now approaching the disc, getting ready to initiate for the Massey Chargers one more time. Ling on the near sideline. Marked by Caitlin Ward. We love our mirror matches, 17 on 17.
Great effort for Massey. There's been many, many turns on this point, and you can see the physical and the mental fatigue setting in on these teams. You got to be really careful once you're a bit run down with your decision-making process.
Ward tries to get a near sideline shot to Dio. It doesn't come away. A little bit of defensive flexibility from the Waikato side, trying to shut down the long options that Massey have put on display already. Ling in the center field, marked by Caitlin Ward. Looks to reset to Bianca Mercer. Joshua Cook finds Pellman. Bit of a slip downfield from Abigail Dorr-Wright. Pellman takes it away, and Ronnie Redding limps into that last one. But it looks like a call might have been made.
And the call is a goal.
So Massey Chargers go up by one, 5-4 anybody's game, an incredibly tight game. What we were expecting, really, based on their performance previously in the tournament. We knew the game was going to be hotly contested, and whether or not it was going to be a high-scoring game or a low-scoring game was really going to come down to whether or not they were going to be taking these long shots and whether or not they were going to be coming off. Both of these teams have exhibited a strong ability to put that pressure on, to be able to put those long throws up and bring them down, and it really comes down to whether or not the defense is willing to let them. But a timeout looks to have been called. Massey up by 1. So they'll just be trying to consolidate what they have been doing, what has been working. Well, Waikato will probably be looking, what little adjustments do we have to make? And they only would be minor adjustments to keep the game on serve.
These teams are so evenly matched, and we can see from the length of that last point and the number of turnovers happening that they are neck and neck in this game. It's going to come down to fine details about who's going to pull ahead.
Absolutely, but while these teams consult and consolidate, we will take a very, very short break. And we here at Ulti TV will be back with you very soon.
Do you want to study with world leaders in future thinking? New Zealand has been ranked the #1 English-speaking country for preparing students for the future, and all of our universities are in the top 3% in the world. Start your journey to a high-quality New Zealand education by choosing a recognised study option available in your country. Take the first step towards your New Zealand education now, because the world needs new.
A huge thanks to University Tertiary Sport New Zealand for their help in bringing this tournament to you today. The first day of the 2022 New Zealand Tertiary Ultimate Championships, our final stream game for the day between the mighty Massey Chargers and the University of Waikato. The score currently 5-4, 1 point ahead Massey are as we look to break this timeout and see what the next point brings us. As always, my name is Blair Monroe.
And I'm Kisa Valenti.
And it is the biggest privilege to be here with the Ulti TV crew, bringing you coverage of the best Ultimate in the country. Patreon.com/UltiTV. So it looks like both teams will break the timeout at the same time. Massey going to take the line to come out on defense.
Massey's had a bit of time here in the break to sort out what defense they'd like to come down on, so I'm interested to see whether they decide to pull out a zone or not.
Well, a lot of the Waikato success over the last few points has come off those long throws. We've seen a huge amount of long throws, and it could be a case of applying that pressure in a zone. You've got players like Ronnie Reddings. We've seen his closing speed. Putting him in the deep space might be enough of a discouragement to try and stop Waikato throwing those long options that seem to be working for them. So we'll see Josh Cook with the pull, fielded by Kieran McDonald to Kent Wilcock, as we do look to be seeing a bit of a zone defense. We've got Jonas Holman taking up that deep space. 3 ladies up the front. Bianca Mercer, Elena Hrieshchichin.
Great pressure from Massey there.
Able to generate a turn early. That's exactly what Massey want. They want to be able to crack this game open. Tyson Pellman with the disc on the far sideline. Puts a big option up.
Great read from Cook for the goal.
Josh Cook with an absolutely brilliant grab. That is what they want. The first and last touches on that point going to Josh Cook, number 11 for the Massey Chargers. Get to see it again. Huge separation from his defender. Despite a great attempt by the Waikato defense to try and close that out, Josh Cook had the space. He brings the disc down, puts another point on the board for his side. up by 2. The Massey Chargers to come down on defense one more time. As a game to 13, we will take a halftime break when the first team to score 7 points does so. So this is a huge opportunity for Massey to take half and the psychological advantage that comes along with it. Just being able to put in that last point that ends the game, or the first half of the game, and sort of has that sort of moment in between to consolidate and I guess cool down, rehydrate, stretch, just settle your mind. Earning that for your team as opposed to having that opportunity taken away from you can be a very, very calming and restorative effect for an otherwise tired and fatigued Ultimate team. Kieran McDonald's quick to field, finds Alex Dio, using those give-go movements to work the disc up the field. Threading through the middle of that zone to Maringi Hogan, back to Kieran McDonald. We're seeing that same arrowhead zone from the Massey defense this time. Hogan, Dio, he's looking back for Kieran McDonald. Katie Son, unable to work it up that near sideline, works back towards Alex Dio in the midfield. Waikato are just zigzagging back and forth across the field, but it seems to be working for them. They're just outside the red zone. McDonald, Dio. McDonald, Dio. Kapoor, McDonald, Mercer nearly getting a bite on it. And the drop finally happens. That's exactly what a zone like that Arrowhead is seeking to do. Force the players to work the sides, back and forth, back and forth. The more passes you can string together, the more opportunities there are for mistakes. Ex-Conde's going deep. It doesn't come off. Horton in the midfield. Hogan gets it back. Run through block on Bianca Mercer and the score.
Bookends for Hogan. What a lovely display of both offensive and defensive prowess.
Huge point for Maringi Hogan and a necessary point for Waikato as they go 5 against the Massey Chargers 6. Now it's their defense. We'll see what they're able to do. Are they going to be able to arrest the Massey offense? Are they going to be able to slow them down and stop them from taking half? Or are they going to keep trading and maybe bring us to Galaxy Point?
In that last point, we saw an arrowhead zone where we've got 1 person on the mark, 2 just behind them, 3 farther down in the field, and 1 back in the deep. I think it's actually really smart that Massey has put their women right up the front of the arrowhead. Women tend to have a lower center of gravity, better agility in those short sprints, whereas putting men farther down the field, they've got a bit more reach, a bit more explosive physicality, and that's really taking advantage of the strengths of both players. Notice how we're saying male matchup and female matchup. Players, when they enter in the mixed division, choose which matchup they identify with, which is one of the lovely parts of playing mixed ultimate.
Grace Jourdain with the pull. It's high, but a little short. Massey grateful for the opportunity. Not a long walk up the field if they're looking to score, but it also allows the Waikato defense to get set early, although they look to be sticking to a match defense. Alex Dio, Ronnie Redding's a great matchup. Gets looked off. Abigail Dorwright not able to get a security over that disc. Manages to get a hand to it. Kit Wilcock, Kieran McDonald. Katie Son straight through the middle to Alex Dio. Katie Son's going to get it back. A little bit of a sketchy release. Grace Jourdain's not able to get a hand to that, so it goes back to the Massey Chargers. Bianca Mercer with the disc. Tyson Pellman manages to get separation, sends a big shot deep, looking for Ling. A little bit much rocket fuel, it goes a little bit long. Ling's not able to chase that one down, but in terms of territory, it is a good gain for the Chargers side. They're able to apply enough defensive pressure to create mistakes in the University of Waikato team. If they're able to do so close enough to the end zone, they'll either be able to generate a turn that leads to a short point for them, or something else entirely.
We're seeing a lot of nice quick play from both sides, Massey and Waikato. The trick with this quick movement is towing the line between fast and frantic. You want to make sure you're moving the disc as fast as you can while still making good decisions. The last 2 turns, we had the fast prioritizing over the smart, and it seems like Waikato has dialed that back in, being real patient with the disc now, waiting for that opening, and through the arms of McDonald.
A very, very high pressure throw. Late in the stall count, Dio lets it rip. It goes through the hands of Pellman and McDonald. So a clutch attempt at the block being necessary there to stop McDonald reeling that one in. Reddings with a huge fake, puts a high release backhand over the top. Looks back, finds Pellman, who lets one rip anyway. Reddings looking to close this one. A great bid, he's not able to get it. Huge rip, plenty of separation. Gets a hand to the disc. You could see it wobbling as he got contact. That may have been the grab that was needed to take Massey through half. And so we're right back where we were. Waikato on their defensive end zone. Massey able to put a lot of pressure on here.
Possession is really key here for Waikato. The wind is starting to pick up, so we may not see as many big shots as before. These small passes that allow the offense to work their way up the field slowly are not what we're going to see, apparently.
Kent Wilcock on the far sideline uncorks one for Kieran McDonald.
Redemption for McDonald.
Calmly run down the score, 6-6. We have ourselves a Galaxy point, a tied score just before a crucial moment in the game. 6-all. The next team to score is going to take half, and it is a vital thing. Both teams are hungry for it. Waikato at a slight disadvantage, having to come down on defense. They will have to generate a turn and then score from it. Massey with an opportunity to just calmly hold the disc. We know they've been able to do it. They've got the patience for it. Only time will tell. Martingy Hogan with the disc to bring the pull down for the last point before half in the final game today. And as they always say, good defense starts with the pull. Nice long shot, fielded by Holman to Pellman, back to Holman. Center field, looks like Massey going to be starting in a vertical stack. Ex-Conde's cutting long, covered by Kapoor. Ling on the near sideline, marked by Caitlin Ward. Finds Pellman, marked by Wilcock. Big rip, Kapoor's going for it. Great block from Isaiah Kapoor. What else was I supposed to do?
That's the turn that Waikato has been looking for. We can see them setting up in a hex pattern.
So what we'll see is a great initiating cut from that centre player, that hat that Keith was talking about. Walter Walmsley takes it deep, creates space in the centre, and then uses that space to invite cuts in to start an initiation play.
Excellent bid from Waikato, but could not pick it up.
Hellman looking for an up line. Holman takes it. Sends the hammer, it's helixing back, a lot of fade. Ex-Conde's not able to reel that one in. Too much defensive pressure from Kapoor. This is what Waikato want. Kent Wilcock with the desk, right in front of his defensive end zone. Isaiah Kapoor finds Hogan. Doesn't work. Holman with the intercept, long shot. Ex-Conde with the score over Kapoor. That takes us to 7-6. Massey Chargers up by 1 to conclude the first half. That may have been the most exciting point we've seen all day. Fantastic effort by both sides. Massey Chargers up by 1. Who knows how the rest of this game is going to go. Great read, a great reel in by Ex-Conde. We will be back with you very, very shortly for the second half of the final stream game of the day. What a beautiful throw. My name is Blair Munro.
And I'm Kisa Valenti.
And with the team here at Alti TV, we will be back with you very shortly.
half of the 4th game on the first day of the Tertiary Ultimate Championships 2022, brought to you by University and Tertiary Sport New Zealand and UltiTV, available at patreon.com/UltiTV. I'm here with my co-host Blair Monroe, watching the University of Waikato, Te Wharewa Nangao Waikato, up against the Massey Chargers. We have had a stunner of a first half. Went to Galaxy Point, a tie for half. Massey Chargers brought it home. We are here with the Chargers on offense again. A great advantage for them coming out of the half, and we'll see if they can continue on this train to a victory.
An absolutely scorcher of a first half, as you say, Kisa. Waikato to come out on defense now. We've seen them move away from the zone that we've seen in previous games. They've been looking a lot more to try and isolate those individual matchups on person defense. So we're going to see a big pull from Alex Dio. Comfortably fielded by Josh Cook. Finds Bianca Mercer in the center of the field. Works the far sideline. Finds Ronnie Reddings.
We're seeing a match defensive look from Waikato here.
Hellman to Mercer. A little bit of chaos, but Horton gets it. Marked by Kobe Niwa.
Seeing a lot of confidence and patience from Massey on the disc here.
Great shot by Mercer. Not able to get it to the receiver, though. Huge amount of curve on that disc, trying to really stretch it around the defense into that wide open space for the receiver to target. Not able to come away with it. And this is just what Waikato need. An offensive opportunity to bring them back on serve. Take it 7-7.
We can see Perry streaking deep, but the put is not coming.
Kieran McDonald, Katie Son, and Alex Dio trying to work the width of the field at the moment. Huge amount of pressure stopping those long throws going up. Cowley, Dio. Walmsley wide open on the near sideline, marked by Josh Cook. Manages to work back towards the center of the field to find Kieran McDonald. Niwa back to Dio. So a lot of short give and go movement, looking for something to develop downfield. They find it. Dio hitting McDonald. And threading one back through to Dio again. Working around the defense.
An acrobatic catch from Waikato and a sensible dump.
A bit of a tumble from Walter Walmsley, but it's enough to keep it in possession. Massey defense forcing them to work a little bit backwards before going forwards. Putting one through again, finding Aria Cowley. A lot of defensive pressure slowing down the offense. Still count's getting a little bit high, but she's able to find Kieran McDonald despite the pressure put on by Tyson Pellman. Kieran McDonald puts a big one up for Alex Dio and brings it down 7-all. Waikato with the score. Wide open, miles of separation. Just manages to bring that down. Clean inbounds, a great point there for the Waikato, recovering after a bit of a slow start to the half for them during that point, but they were able to pick up that pace towards the end. Massey on offense again.
We're about an hour into this game. We have About 18 minutes left until soft cap goes. With these teams neck and neck, we're not likely to see a game-to-point cap, so it's going to be all about trading points here. If someone is able to pull ahead, either the Chargers or Waikato, the game will likely be theirs.
Particularly in these later moments, managing to claw out an advantage and hold it, even for a couple of points, can make all the difference in terms of disrupting the opposition's momentum. Again, Wilcock with the disc, setting up for the pull. It's a tense moment. Wilcock lets it rip, comes in a little bit low, fielded by Holman early.
Waikato showing us a zone defensive look.
Great grab there as they work to thread through the space between the players in the start of that zone. Kieran McDonald putting a lot of pressure on, but he's able to find Ling. Big Fakes has to put a hammer over the top. It finds Jones. It's secure. Pushes back to Holman. Back up the far sideline to Ling.
Huge
Great
bid
layout.
for Ling.
Way to keep that one alive. Finch with the disc on the far sideline. Got options behind. Finds Holman. There's a swing to Cook available on the near sideline. Pressuring the defense to shift them and create that separation. Holman's going to follow through. Wants to do the same thing. Doesn't come away as the defense from Waikato circles all the way around. Manages to sneak one through. Puts it high. Kent Wilcox right underneath it. Clean interception. Holman nearly with a run through D, but Kieran McDonald gets a hand to it. Keita Perry. Great hustle from the Chargers here. Cowley on the near sideline to Walmsley. Working with Cowley. Kent Wilcock calling for the disc. Unmarked, manages to work through the defense, finds Hogan, back to Wilcock. So close to the end zone, puts a nice one, big up and over the top for Walmsley for the score.
What a beautiful display by Waikato, how to toe that line between fast and frantic. We saw a lot of back and forth motion down the field and a breath when it was needed. And that allowed the offense to reset, take stock of what's going on the field and make those smart choices that allowed them to score that point.
Yeah, less haste, more speed. Being able to dictate the pace of play on the field is a huge benefit to any offensive side. And the Waikato side are able to display that magnificently as they go up by 2. So the score being now 9-7 in favor of Waikato. Or possibly 8-7. We're seeing that give and go that Hamilton is famous for in the Waikato community. Manages to thread one through to a wide open receiver in the end zone. Now, 8-7. Waikato up by 1. And a timeout looks to have been called. So we'll take a short break and then be back with you very, very soon.
Dunedin, the city, is just so friendly.
It's a big city, it's a big student city.
I love that you can walk everywhere and that everything's accessible.
The campus is just pretty much in the heart of the city as well.
What the students offer to the city is something that you don't get too many other places.
That's the great thing about this university, you will find your people.
It feels like a university with a city attached to it.
It's exceeded my expectations in every way. It's unbelievable.
And so still in our timeout, a very, very hotly contested game. One of the closest of the day between the University of Waikato, the home team here in Kirikiriroa, and the Massey Chargers. 8-7 in favor of the team in red, the Waikato side on the right hand of your screen now. Just called a timeout at the end of that point. Kisa, what do you think they might be talking about?
For both of these teams, it's a really clutch point in the game with only 1 point difference coming out of half. Like we said before, not very much time left on the clock. We've got about 12 minutes now. These moments are going to be really key to the outcome of the game. I imagine the team coming out on offense is talking about what kind of strategies they're going to use to maintain possession. I imagine the team on defense is talking about the ways to pressure them into losing that possession.
So it really comes down to which team's able to draw in that focus first. These teams are reasonably evenly matched in terms of skill level, in terms of athleticism, in terms of knowledge. They're trading back and forth and have been for the last hour and 4 minutes. It's a really, really impressive effort on display, and so the game is going to go to the team who's able to really draw everything in and make their side, their unit on the field at the time as cohesive as possible. Teamwork makes the dream work. So Waikato with that score. Looking to come down on defense. They seem to have abandoned their zone in favor of an interpersonal matchup. Marangi Hogan with the disc. A great pull. Fielded by Mercer. To Cook in the center field.
We see a vertical stack look right off the bat from Massey Ultimate, ostensibly freeing up the lanes on the left and right side of the field.
Bling to Pellman. Abigail door right. To Pellman, right on the doorstep. Puts it a little bit low, goes to ground. Waikato with an opportunity. Alex Dio, probably one of the dominant disc handlers the Waikato side has. Been involved in a lot of their plays. Sends a big one long, looking for Marangi Hogan. Marked down by Bianca Mercer. To Caitlin Ward, back to Marangi Hogan for the score. Waikato up by 2 now. The game 9-7. Great work by Hogan there. Had an absolute ripper of a game.
It's hard to believe that just a few years ago she was in high school, showing one of the most dominant performances on the field here.
So the signal's given for a female matchup, but we're going to see that point again. Alex Dio right from his own end zone. Throwing probably comfortably 55 to 60 meters. Able to bounce that disc off Caitlin Ward straight back to Marangi Hogan for a great score. Just a quick change up. Female matchup majority on the field at the moment. Marangi Hogan with the disc for the pull. The signal given from both sides. Pellman, Cook, Pellman, Cook. Little tick-attack ultimate heading up the field. Mercer goes over the top, finds Pellman.
Massey is just finding all the gaps in this defense. They're working their way up the field smartly.
Waikato look to have moved back towards a zone defense. So they've moved away from the match that has seen them with a lot of success in generating those turns. But as they switch back to zone, they're a little bit slow to get started. And so Massey are not having too much trouble working their way up the field. Cook now finds Mercer on the far sideline.
Credit to Massey as well. This offensive look is really nice coming from them. The disc is moving constantly. It's smart option taking. The receivers are always open. This is the kind of offense you want to see against any zone, and this is the kind of offense you do not want to see if you're playing zone.
Pellman nearly pinned down on the sideline by the oppressive defense of Kent Wilcock, but he looks back to try and find Josh Cook and maybe use a bit more width of the field. The disc is up. A great opportunity there with the heads up for Massey to maybe secure it, but it doesn't come away. Waikato finds a couple of advances up the field. One of the Massey players lying down. Looks like Ronnie Reddings again. So an injury has been called. And just while we resolve this, we'll take another short break. Just while the players have the discussion and possibly carry one of their teammates off the field. So despite the great work from Waikato moving the disc up the field, the turnover looks like it's going to stand after the injury. So Massey should have possession.
Let's see if they can maintain their composure to work their way up the field once again.
Mercer and Pellman working really well together. Laying on the far sideline. Option back to Pellman. Possibly might be able to work the disc around. No, goes up that far sideline. Finds Mercer again. Through to Ling in the center field. To Holman, to Mercer. They're right on the doorstep. They're looking to close this one out. Forced backwards by the defense. Pellman there. Great upline cut. Jumps early. A great attempt, but poor read. Or is it possible that that was an attempt at a greatest? He knew he was going to jump out of bounds and was hoping to secure the disc and bring it back in. Either way, Waikato with an opportunity now. Alex Dio in his own end zone. Grace Jourdain marked by Lang. Manages to find Hogan on the near sideline. Hogan puts a big one up. Is it going to fade back in? It is, but a little bit too low for Dio to get a hand to it. But the disc did come back inbound, so it will be played from where it is.
Another opportunity for Massey to score and even up these points. Looks like Waikato is coming down in a zone.
Pellman to Mercer.
Waikato's doing a great job of taking away all those easy options. Throwers are having to work really hard and take pinpoint passes.
And Waikato are able to generate a turn anyway. A push pass across to Alex Dio. To Kent Wilcock. Alex Dio right on their own doorstep, wanting to put another one on. Towed in by Alex Dio as the game goes 10-7. The momentum seems to be swinging heavily in the favor of the University of Waikato now. The game opening up a lot more than it has at any other point during this match. 3 minutes left before soft cap. And it looks like a timeout has been called. So again, we've talked about the tactical use of a timeout to try and arrest the team's momentum. It looks like that might be the case here, just trying to slow down the Waikato side a little bit. Although, considering how close we are to the soft cap, it might be too little too late. It's time that Massey might not be able to afford giving up in favor of playing time.
It is still possible. If the soft cap goes on after this point, let's say Waikato scores, brings it to 11, cap is at 12, there's still time for Chargers to come back. They might still have this game.
Absolutely. It is very, very possible for Chargers to stage a comeback late in the piece. We've seen what Waikato are able to do. They've put a lot of pressure on. They've definitely fired up during the second half of this game. And so only time will tell. But as we wait for these timeouts to resolve, that was a horn from a car nearby, if you could pick that up on stream, not our hooter. So no need to worry. We'll be back with you very, very shortly.
My world is my storytelling.
My world is diverse.
Our world.
My world is astrophysics. It's always been a dream of mine.
I don't know what my career pathway will be.
I approach architecture from the point of view of my culture.
I want to contribute to my people.
It's a way I can give back.
I want to change the perception of engineers.
I want to take my tohu home when I graduate.
Right now, it's about me.
And this is my chapter.
And our chapter here is Ultimate, this being potentially one of the last chapters in this game. Waikato versus Massey. Waikato up by 3. Only 30 seconds left before we hit soft cap. Every point from here on out is crucial. The signal being given for male matching players as a majority to take the field. So 4 male matching, 3 female matching for this next point.
Although the hooter has just gone, this point is considered to have started already. The next point starts immediately after the previous point's goal. So we are going to finish off this point, add 1 to that score, and that'll be our point count.
So we will be either looking at a game to 11 or a game to 12, depending on what happens in this next point. It's a bit of a nail biter. It's coming to a close.
I don't know if you can see this at home on your screens, but I can see a fire in the Chargers' eyes.
So Holman to field the disc early.
Great pressure from Waikato.
Closing off that first pass before working in to try and put a stall count on. It's great work there from Waikato. High shot, far sideline, finds Jones. Marked by Walmsley. Holman with the disc now.
Great patience from the Chargers in the face of heavy traffic.
Ex-Conde manages to keep that one alive, but a stoppage was called.
Players are signaling a stall out has been called. That means the thrower has reached their 10-second limit.
And an uncontested stall means that it'll be an immediate turnover.
And McDonald has chosen to pick up the disc.
A really high forehand. There's going to be plenty of time for people to get underneath it. Walmsley goes up with 2 hands and grabs the disc, marked by Brandon Jones. Finds the reset in Kobe Niwa, who finds Dio in the midfield. Kieran McDonald lets one rip again, a little high.
Jourdain brings it down.
Great work by Jourdain to bring that one in. Player number 11 puts the 11th point on the board for her side. Great work. That's the conclusion of our point post soft cap. It is now a strict race to 11. The Massey Chargers, they definitely... Oh, 12. It's a race to 12. My mistake. I can't count. I'm too excited. So a race to 12. 1 point in it left for the Waikato side. Massey Chargers with a long run ahead of them. It's not impossible. But the door is slowly closing on them. Every point from here on out is crucial. They need an offensive hold here and then consecutive breaks if they want to walk away with a win. Waikato only need to generate 1 more turnover in this point, and they can walk away with a win to close out their day. Alex Dio with the disc, looking to pull for Waikato. Everything on the line for both of these teams. A forehand pull, an interesting choice. It's going to roll back, fading towards the far sideline, giving the Massey Chargers an opportunity to bring it back to that brick mark, that X in the center field, 18 meters in front of their end zone. It gives them a great positional advantage. Opens up the entire field in front of them, and it doesn't allow the defense to trap them on the sideline. Josh Cook to bring the disc in. Manages to find Timothy Horton laying on the near sideline.
Huge D from McDonald.
Huge block there. Cook's not able to get the disc before McDonald's body slams it into the ground. And a big hammer from Wilcock to absolutely nobody. Really slow in terms of coverage for the receiver there. Maybe just looking to close out the game in a big flashy fashion, but that's not as important as closing out the game. I hope your grandparents aren't watching this one, Kent.
A second chance for Cook with the disc. Exconde streaking long.
There is no way that just happened. Bouncing off the player, never touching a blade of grass, and so it was considered up, and that's upheld by the opposition. No call that the disc was down. That is Massey luck, if ever I've seen it. Horton on the near sideline. Feet don't fail me now. A great big blade, and it's kept in hands. Exconde got it again. How are they doing this? A bit of miscommunication there.
But it doesn't matter. There is absolutely no expectation of what will happen in this point. And with the goal, that's Brandon Danger Jones. Massey has done it.
Jones with a huge score. Everything on a coin flip in that point. Exconde with a major save that keeps Massey in the game. It is hard to believe it. I could have sworn that disc was down, but there was no call. Managed to get hands to it, keep it off the ground, keep possession, and then push all the way through for a score by Jones. Fantastic work. Maybe you're right. Here we go. Off the hands, and it was up. Horton with a monster left to find Cook. Puts it up. Despite the early bid by Walmsley, it's not enough, and Jones brings it down. A 3-point game, race to 12. Bianca Mercer has the disc. One of the great pullers on the Massey side. I think she may have taken every single pull when the female matchup majority has been on the field.
All right, Massey Chargers giving possession to Waikato. Let's see how soon they can take it back and claw their way up in this game.
Dio and Hogan initiating that offense for the Waikato side. Kapoor with a nice undercut, bouncing the disc back to Hogan. Far sideline marked by Cook. Manages to break through, find Hogan off the top of Ling.
D by Ling.
Great work by Massey to shut that one down. Katie Son nearly managing to pull in the winning point for Waikato, but isn't able to.
The wind has picked back up on the field. Got a slight downwind at the Massey Chargers' backs, or should we call them the Massey Mavericks? Big swing to Cook.
To door right on the far sideline, working back through. Finch back to Cook.
that it's static in the downfield.
Sends a big one going. Katie Son able to close that one out. Stop Lin getting a hand to it. Great pressure defense, good defensive boxing. Just cutting off that line towards the disc. Waikato with an opportunity to finish up the game. They only need to score one more point. Hogan with a far side laser beam to Dio. Puts one long, two underneath it. Kata Perry and Grace Jordan. But it's Bianca Mercer who comes out on top for the defense. Some great work there. We have ourselves a game. Cook wants to send it long. Instead looks to find Mercer.
Smart choice by Mercer. Hard to see options developing in the downfield, and unfortunately, D'd again by Son.
Great work by Katie Son, doing a huge amount of coverage of that deep space. Alex Dio for Waikato. Back to Hogan. Threads a laser beam through to find Jordan. Marked out by Mercer. Manages to get one off the far sideline. Hogan puts a big one up. A slip. Son to Alex Dio. Not with a bang, but with a whimper. The University of Waikato able to generate a quick turn, get a long pass off, and then string a few short passes together to close out the final point of the game as they go 12-8 over the Massey Chargers. A fantastic finish to the last game of the first day of the Tertiary Ultimate Championships 2022. Could not be prouder to be supported by university and tertiary sport, bringing the absolute best of Ultimate to your screens, and to be working here with the team at Ulti TV, without whom none of this would be possible. But for now, my name is Blair Monroe.
And I'm Kisa Valenti.
Thank you so much.
Ulti.tv.